welcome everybody. I'm Filup Molina, and this is Rogue Theory. It's the show where we just let our favorite people come onto our channel and talk about just nerdy stuff and theories and topics and questions that are circling the nerdosphere. Today's episode, we have Maude Garrett.
I'm back.
She's back, bitch. She is
from
Geek Bomb. You can say the B word. You can say it way more than I can say it.
Oh, you can. You can.
Yeah.
You can't.
Cool.
You can.
I love the power. I'm thriving on it.
We also have Nate Ballard, who is my personal friend and fixed my TV. And this is my reward for him being here. But
I
also,
thought it was an hour-long job, and now it's turned into.
he's still here to work on it.
Yeah.
He's also a local comedian that you can see around town, and later on we'll talk about where. And also, so is Marina Mastros, who we see around town performing
also
comedy.
a local handyman.
Yeah. Oh, awkward
Woman.
that I went with
Yeah,
Nate.
yeah.
Handy person.
Yeah.
Handy non-binary.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So a reminder that you can listen to this show, the Rogue Theory podcast, on the podcast feed. All of our content comes out faster on the podcast, so if you can't wait, go there. Also check out Inside Marvel, that podcast, the WikiLeaks podcast. That's MCU and Star Wars content. On this episode, we got some theories about all kinds of stuff. We got some Spider-Man Far From Home stuff, because Sony was so nice to let us see that earlier in the week this time. Did you say skit?
No, it was more of a.
She was making the web sound.
Skish. It was more of a skish.
Yeah, more of a skish.
From the
what
window
they
to
sound
the
like.
wall.
Yeah. Skish.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about some Stranger Things news,
Cool.
season 3, which is looking man, the outfits in these things
They're
are
ramping
fire.
it
Yeah.
up.
And also, what giant animal is on the set
yeah.
of? Oh, you're already excited. It's not dinosaurs.
It's a dinosaur.
No,
It's
you have a thing for
literally a
dinosaurs.
dinosaur.
We have a conversation about Game of Thrones, the spinoff. We got a little bit of news coming out.
For sure, thought you were going to say Kong though.
Kong on set.
That is the
of-
big monster. That is the big beast. That is the beast that's happening. Godzilla, Kong. No.
What about him?
Totally.
When you say beast, that's like the only one. What
Well,
beast?
there's Beast from Marvel.
Damn you.
Yeah, that's immediately the
You
first
win
one I
this
think
round.
of. Yeah. All right, let's. We'll say I won that, and I'll take a lot of pride, and I'll
Who's
do a
ke-
victory
Nate,
lap.
keep
Okay, no, I got
Nate
it.
is keeping
yeah,
score.
yeah,
Yeah, he's not good with numbers. So. yeah.
More of a hands guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, very handsy for sure. This guy. Careful.
Your TV seems to enjoy it.
Yeah, there you go.
And my sister did say good things about you too. Guys, Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
Loved
Let's
it.
go
So
right
great.
into it.
Okay,
Great.
can I just
Yeah.
going into it, I looked up the runtime and I was like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Was it?
Yes.
I didn't know.
I know, and I like
by.
Thank you. It flew by. I thought I would feel the 2 hours and 10 minutes. Did not feel it at all. It went by so quickly.
It sounds like you slept. is what
I was.
yeah.
I had my eyes closed.
Yeah.
I was snoring,
Super
but I
relaxed,
loved it.
yeah.
I loved
Opening
every
closing
second
credits
of
were
it.
great.
My dreams were amazing.
Yeah.
the
First
whole
act was
time.
actually kind of slow, but it was the point. That was the point of it. Smoke and mirrors. Quite literally, there were smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Well, so okay, cool. So I'm glad you're going down that route because that's very on brand for us to figure out like what's it really about,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
So it clearly is about illusions and truth revealing.
Which is interesting because we've seen so many iterations of Mysterio in the comics, and the one that I like the most is from, sorry to get my nerd on here, but is from Old Man Logan, where we see Mysterio basically single-handedly use Logan,
That's
infiltrate his mind,
terrifying.
make all of the people in his head seem like all of the X-Men were actually villains, and so he
Kills them, right? Yeah.
everyone.
Cool.
And I was like, that
Oh,
Mysterio
is
is
that-
probably the biggest threat villain that we've seen since
Totally.
Thanos, who could just basically wipe
Exactly.
out half
That's
the
a
population
time
with a
where people realize, like, that's something that the MCU does really well. Is they realize someone's powers could actually be used in like these terrible, insane ways. Instead of like, oh, you think I'm over here? I'm over here. Like, which is usually the Mysterio move.
Yeah.
Or I'm really big now. But yeah, in that he murders the X-Men.
Yeah.
Well, he has Wolverine do it. So yeah, let's talk about Mysterio. What do you guys think of both Mysterio and Jake Gyllenhaal's performance of it?
Oh, loved it.
Yeah, Jake's always good.
Oh, you guys are
And
first
Nate,
name?
they're
Yeah,
Nate
Jake
is
and I?
personal friends with.
Yeah.
Oh, JG?
I've fixed
JG?
his
Yeah.
TV a few times.
Oh, if you know what I
Say
mean.
that. Yeah, I fixed his TV a few times. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's all you mean. Though.
I thought that it was very reminiscent of Incredibles 1, the villain.
Yeah, where it's like I'm supposed to be on your team, but I'm actually not.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I mean, it's a little tough, I think, for all of us that are familiar with the character Mysterio. We're like, well, that's a bad guy. So that's going to be a reveal, right? And then it did happen, but I actually thought that they still made it super interesting and entertaining. Here's why. For me personally, I like that they anchored it through Iron Man because that's the way you could hurt Peter the most, right? Instead of a version of Mysterio. So speaking of Mysterio from the comics, there's a version of him who's basically a failed actor. He's set from the theater world, and it kind of is this idea of like, oh, I could put on shows and performances, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. But instead, to anchor him through, I'm going to use your mentor's technology against you,
right?
And both you're going to think of me as your replacement mentor, and then I'm actually your biggest threat. Like all of that, I thought was a way better reimagining of how to use Mysterio.
Like I wonder what his plan was if Peter hadn't just given him the glasses. Like he couldn't have planned that to be like, I'll talk him into doing this at a bar. Like,
to be fair, he probably could have made an illusion where Peter thought his glasses were over here, and they were actually over here, and he just like,
goes to this other...
let me grab this slice of cheese.
Yeah.
So then the real question is Peter really drinking lemonade in that scene?
Yeah, maybe his plan was just to get him wasted.
Straight vodka.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Yeah. But no, because he had to verbalize the command.
Yeah, he has to transfer control over.
Right.
But he could have been like, we're shooting a commercial, and
or just
here's
like,
your script.
Guys, what's a fun dare? What if a fun dare would be just like transferring controls of this?
Edith, that belongs to me. I don't know.
Truth or dare? Let's do it. Come
on.
I dare you.
God, the Edith joke, by the way, is so good.
I love
Even Dead, I'm the hero.
So
I love that.
But Jake Gyllenhaal's performance was amazing because he does play the hero so well,
totally,
and the mentor, and you really see him kind of like take up the mantle of Tony Stark, who was the mentor, and he kind of just slid right in, built instant trust on it, and then the switch, and it was just so wonderful to see Jake Gyllenhaal just shine. But the ex-disgruntled employee, we've seen it before with like Mr. Enigma in like the original like Batman, Schumacher's Batman series with Jim Carrey. Like I
and
really love the idea
the
that they're just
batsuit.
fixated and this like kind of like builds up this. It's more than disgruntlement. It's like, but using the technology that they helped build against them. But I kind of like that, in a way, we have this movie to mourn Tony Stark, and it's been a few months, and they use great exposition to kind of like see how the world is moving on from it all. But Tony Stark obviously wanted all of this notoriety at the start of his career, and because we've seen him for so long over the movies, you see that he sacrificed everything for the sake of humanity, and yet he hasn't been able to, I guess, protect his reputation. So the fact that, he still is perceived as a really dangerous guy to a lot of people, especially people who used to work for him.
Well,
I think that's
they're
fascinating.
not wrong, though, right? Like, he's famously an egomaniac, and he would admit that more than anyone. In fact, I feel like that's what Happy was trying to say, is like, yeah, the guy was, like, messed up, but at the same time, it's telling you the story of this messed up guy must have had such a good heart. We saw proof that he has a heart, right? That he was able to wield this kind of power, and look how much good he did, and give this a fraction of the power to this team of people for moments, and look how much damage they immediately go to do.
Yeah.
It's actually like a love letter to Tony Stark.
Well, I also think he's saying like he was also human. Like he's not the the perceived brand that he is. He's insecure just like everybody else, kind of thing.
They were clearly like having that lingering question of who is the next Tony Stark. Do you guys think that this was trying to answer? Some people are saying with Spider-Man, they're like, even though he's kind of saying I'm not.
Can't be.
I don't think so.
What? I thought that's like literally exactly what it meant.
Go ahead.
By the end of the movie, I was like, to me, the whole point of the movie was like, oh man, at the beginning, Spider-Man thinks he's not the main person to take up the mantle, and then it's the whole story, and then the whole point of the film, like literally, is that he is.
He was supposed to have Edith,
when
and he believes in himself.
And when he rises to that moment, that's when we see him at the back of the airplane.
AC/DC montage moment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he's basically being Iron Man in that moment.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, correct.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, very
embarrassing.
Which I love, by the way. Just a shout out to Chris McKenna. I think is one of the screenwriters who I believe did Lego Batman.
Didn't he?
No. But he did. But he's the guy who he's really great at trope deconstruction. So when you're watching Lego Batman, it's like really realistic to Batman's probably an insane person, right? Like he's this rich and he's alone all the time, and he puts on a bat. He's probably insane. So he has like a pool full of crazy toys and whatnot. he did part of the screenwriting of this, and I feel like you saw those moments on that plane scene where he's kind of like, so what are you gonna do? And he's like, I'm gonna kick his ass. He's like, no, we are literally hovering now.
We've been sitting over a tulip field for 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Just finding all those moments and then just subverting. They also did it with the Sam Jackson, like, here's the plan or the mission scene that people keep interrupting by knocking on the door.
Oh my God,
that was
with the
so
music
funny.
kicking in and out.
That was great. I love that. But now we know that wasn't even Nick Fury.
him. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, okay. So, getting into, I guess, spoiler warning, way too late. Yeah.
I'm kidding. Or not?
Well, I mean, we're talking about.
That's not even Nate.
Yeah.
That's not even it.
Yeah, we'll put a spoiler warning at the beginning of this somehow.
I mean, we're talking about Spider-Man Far From Home. Like, the whole thing is a spoiler.
And if you haven't seen it yet,
if
it's
you haven't
been
seen
out
it.
for what,
Hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been out for 12 hours, so.
Should be watched.
Are you really a fan?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Just a couple like lingering questions that I had coming out, but I wonder your guys' take on it. One, do you guys think Mysterio is dead?
What happened to him in the end? He got shot for sure, and then what after that?
There's a really great moment where it turns out he wasn't down there, right? He was standing next to
and then
Peter.
And the Peter tingle came into effect, and he was able to shoot him properly.
But didn't he? He died from like the original gunshot, right?
So what?
The OG.
Recreating the moment, what happens there is that he basically collapses down and dies in front of Peter, and Peter asks Edith, "Is this real?"
Yeah.
And she says that all of the visualizations, or whatever word it
so
is,
she doesn't
illusions have been
directly
turned
answer the
off.
question.
She does not say he is dead.
Which is a pet peeve of mine, guys.
Interesting.
When people don't directly answer your question.
Especially Edith, you'd think she would
which
be
is such
very
an important
direct.
question.
Yeah, technically, you haven't answered my question.
Right,
either.
yeah.
Do you think he's still alive?
I don't know.
I mean, I really like the character, and I think that there is a lot more room to go and grow with it. I would love to see him back again, or maybe we actually do have the multiverse version of Mysterio.
Ooh.
Great. So let's take a vote real quick. Is this guy gonna come back?
I want him to.
I think he's gonna come back at like I can't remember who, but
Describe it to me.
and so you've got a TV, right? And you're in the back of it trying to figure out what these chips go to.
We're following this metaphor.
Right. Okay. So then the chips they disappear, but
they
the
half
TV
of them
still
disappear.
works.
Yeah.
Half of them come
half
back.
of them
The TV
wait.
works. Well, the reason
But by now
why
it's a VCR.
it's the Phantom chip. So the chip that left the video for Spider-Man and for the world, like Spider-Man killed me. This chip leaves this video and says, but has more plans from the past. Like has done more, like pulled more strings that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Interesting, Marina.
Like
what do
he's
you
dead.
think that means?
Well, think of it like a TV. Okay?
Oh, damn it! You guys are both TV repair people.
Yes, and.
Think of it like a TV that's not working, right? You call in Nate, then you call in me.
Do it right.
I think this is an unrelated reason, but gunshots are like, you can stay alive so long after you get shot.
How do you know that?
From experience.
Okay, I'll tell you how I know that. From all these all these gunshot wounds that I have.
Like 50 Cent.
No, from watching like literally all the seasons of I Survived, which is a TV show about people who have survived like horrific events. But a bunch of them have been shot. Guys, we're on a tangent now. A bunch of them have been shot, and he got shot in the like abdomen.
Oh,
So if it was the
movie.
liver, it would kill him, but it would take a little while too.
It would take a while, and also we don't like it. We're assuming he got shot because. But also, that was part of the illusion because he was standing over there.
But he probably did also.
Whose
But
gun
he
was it, and
probably
were they real
did-
bullets? Oh my god,
Right,
I'm getting
like-
deep now.
Right, he could
What am
have
I on
just
New
been,
Rockstars?
He could have just been acting like he was shot.
Well,
you know?
clearly, our post-credit scene shows that there's also either he
He
was
made
doing
the
stuff,
video,
or is it a
yeah.
deep fake?
Right, yeah, it could be.
Okay, here's what I'll throw out there. In the comics, there's more than one Mysterio, too. So the technology, somebody else could easily wear that illusion.
Yeah, but it's not going to have Jake Gyllenhaal's face, and let's be
It
honest.
could have Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal's face because that could be part of
We
the
also
illusion, right?
saw the little guy from another Iron Man, one of the lab assistants pull out that drive. So maybe he's downloading
correct.
Mysterio. And
Yeah, I mean, if I have that tech, I'm gonna look like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's
what he's
sure.
doing for.
He's
Yeah.
just going on dates.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of things
I'm
happening
just
in
gonna stand in the mirror.
MCU now where it's like there's almost room for anything to happen at any time.
Totally.
Always. We've got Skrulls in this universe now, so it doesn't necessarily mean that that person really is that person at any one time. We
Yeah.
have time travel now. So any event that actually happens doesn't mean that it's going to exist for the rest of time as that particular way and path. And then if you've got this illusion technology, then what the hell hell? What is real anymore? I'm not even real. I'm not really here. I'm in bed at the moment. What? Do you know what I mean? Like, nothing.
Well,
is
yeah,
real.
and he
You'd
said,
be
like,
buffering way more though if this is real. Like it would like not be working well. We don't have good internet. Okay, different
on that,
question.
Nate.
So and I recorded all your answers, and we'll find you if you're wrong. But to collect. But I also want to point out this movie did a lot of advancing of the overall MCU story. Now, right? We do know Skrulls are out there,
Blips.
but the blip is now the decimation is now referred to as the blip. It did need a new name because the people came back.
Yeah.
I think blip really undersells what happened.
They
Yeah.
couldn't
there.
call it leftovers, could
Yeah,
they?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, can't do leftovers.
But so speaking on that really quick, so they have two moments that I want to. One, I want to acknowledge really quick how funny it was, the idea that the teacher's wife faked having
Oh
been
my
flipped
God,
away or
that
whatever.
was so funny.
That's
that
not
was
funny.
so good. No, that was the best.
Devastating.
No, like
He got decimated.
yeah. And then, but the thing I want to talk about more is actually, is it Mark? Is that the name of the alternate
guy?
love interest? The one who
Mark.
the,
who MJ is also
yeah.
kind of
Josh.
into.
Kevin? I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
a real memorable name is what it was. But
His real name's Remy, right?
yeah, I'm not sure. But the idea that he actually was one of the people who did not get dusted, right? And so they're all talking about him as if he's so weird. Like, it's so weird. He's handsome now and older and cool and
older.
other. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, he lived normal. You all
Yeah.
died and disappeared and were in maybe the Soul Stone or something. Who
5
knows?
years.
And then for 5 years, and then you guys came back and got reintegrated.
Right.
So my question is, who is actually having a weirder life, and which side would you rather be on?
Well, I can tell you that the weirder life would be being around for those 5 years,
Correct,
and then
correct.
also having to stay in school and your classes. You would think even if you moved somewhere else, you'd still homeschool or something. Like,
So,
right?
well, mostly just the being in that chaotic world that is.
Yeah, but they never
missing out
showed us.
people.
How chaotic are we talking?
Did
I
we
mean, I think
stop
it's got to be
school?
pretty
You
bad.
could still go to the grocery store, right?
So,
you guys still
well,
have
no,
TV?
I mean, are there? We saw in Endgame like all the ships, like it's almost like trade had gotten thrown off. You know, like the world was not functioning well economically.
I think,
Well,
would
then-
you rather not exist, or would you rather miss half of your friends and family? I'd rather exist.
I'd rather not exist. The other people got the crap into
They
the stick.
had 5 years of their life without their significant others. or
Wouldn't
their
you be
loved
so
ones or-
mad when they came back? You'd be so mad at them and
took
be
the
like,
time.
I mourned you.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
back and you think we're still in a
Gosh, they
relationship.
really glossed
Yeah.
over it by
Yeah.
using the high school, gaze. with
Right,
her.
exactly, and
Yeah.
and also all of our leads were dusted, so we're on their side, but really these people suffered, and like they're like making fun of it. You take pictures in the bathroom, and he's
Right.
like, I go to
Yeah.
therapy every
He's
day.
just trying to cope. Right,
About
right, right.
These things.
Because you guys disappeared.
Yeah,
I'm a
at
hot
least I can say.
21-year-old in
yeah.
10th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The one benefit is they will die 5 years earlier than their
Right,
counterparts
yeah.
would have now too.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, let's kick to some sponsors that helped us put the show together and are helping pay for that TV to get fixed. Rogue Theory is brought to you by some very nice sponsors. Do you have credit card debt and are tired of the high interest rates? People that are way smarter than me with money stuff are always saying you should consolidate that debt and get a lower interest rate. If you pay less interest on your debt, you can pay your credit cards off faster and start saving money. Money you could use to buy a car, a house, trip to Comic-Con next year. It's very expensive. Get a credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream with rates as low as 5.95% APR with autopay. Lightstream is super easy to use. You can apply on your phone and have money in your bank account as soon as the day you applied. They don't charge fees and the interest rate is fixed, so it'll never go up over the life of the loan. Just for our listeners, apply now to get a special interest rate discount. The only way to get this discount is to go to lightstream.com/rockstars. Again, for the peeps in the back, that's lightstream.com/rockstars, lightstream.com/rockstars. It's all, of course, subject to credit approval, and that rate includes a 0.5% autopay discount. Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/rockstars for more information. Hey, if there's a part of your body that you don't want to harm while shaving, it's the, undercarriage bit down there. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. Their Lawnmower 2.0 has proprietary skin-safe technology, so this trimmer won't nick or snag you in that real sensitive place. You also shouldn't be using the same trimmer on your face as you're using below the belt. It's kind of like using a sock for a napkin. It's very gross. You could do better. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They're number one in men's below-the-belt grooming. Get 20% off, free shipping, and a free travel bag with the code Rockstars at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping and a free travel bag at manscaped.com when you use the code Rockstars. Thanks so much. And we're back, and still on Spider-Man for another few moments here. Still stuff that we want to talk about. So here's the last thing I want to touch on because it's huge and it kind of deserves its own moment here. Post-credit scene specifically. So the Skrull one, great, confirmed what we thought were like Skrulls are available.
What was Nick
but
Fury
the other
actually
one,
doing? Preparing for Secret Wars.
So he wasn't wearing
socks. Preparing for Secret Wars.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question.
Thank you.
But I want to talk about the other
Talk about it in the
post-credit
comments
scene.
because it's really good.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
First of all,
Back.
they did what everyone was kind of like joking, like, oh, if they can keep J.K. Simmons, like that'd be amazing. And then they were like, yeah, sure.
The audience in my theater cheered.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people.
same.
Me in my theater cheered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
JK is the only triple J you can get.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that it's crossing worlds or whatever, and it could cause some confusion. I don't think that's the case.
No
He's
one
just the best
cares,
actor for the job.
Well, and it was you guys weren't here last week, but we were kind of just throwing out what if they brought him, what it could be like. And I think one of us did actually say, like, it feels too old to be a newspaper editor.
Yeah.
It's got to be something more modern, like a vlog or an InfoWars. I think we made a joke that he was like Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he ended up
because
ended
it's
up
an
doing.
attack on where they're using media to kind of be the
Right.
enemy.
One, it also played in thematically about essentially the whole movie is about fake news.
Yeah,
right.
totally.
And so that's the vibe that he's taking there. But what he reveals is Spider-Man's secret identity to the world.
Which was the best and worst moment because it was like, holy hell, like this is the new game. This is not what I saw coming. This changes absolutely everything. But then a part of me was just like, we're never going to see Peter Parker get a job at the Daily Bugle. We're never going to see him work with Spider-Man.
I had that thought too, right?
Saga.
He can't pretend, I got these pictures of Spider-Man somehow.
But at the same time, it's like, this iteration of Spider-Man isn't the traditional Spider-Man that we've seen twice now in movies. We haven't seen Uncle Ben pass away and have the whole with great responsibility. Great powers comes great responsibility.
If anything, Tony Stark maybe played the Uncle Ben role a little bit more.
Or it's going to be Happy, and Happy's real name is Ben.
Oh.
And he's going to die.
But the thing I want to get to is, so where do we think this is all going? What are we going to see now from Peter now that the world knows this thing? And just a reminder that you guys probably know, but I'll throw out there. In the comics, this event happens with Civil War, where Tony has convinced Spider-Man to side with him in the Accords, and he has to, in order to put his name down and register, hey, I'm a superhero, he has to say, hey, also my name is Peter Parker. It's a famous cover. But that obviously didn't happen for this one because he would have had to reveal himself the first moment we meet him. But where do we think they're going to take it then?
I mean, in stepping into like being the new Tony Stark, like Tony Stark was all about like I'm Tony Stark,
right?
True.
Like I'm me. This is my name. This is my image. Like everything is about me. And like even though he doesn't want to do it that way, like he's being forced to now literally be that role of like this is who I am. This is my actual identity. Like and see how he does it.
I think the only problem he faces right now, besides the rest of the world, is the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal was like, he killed me and he's done bad things. So now people are going to be against him. So they're not just knowing who he is. Now they're going to be like knocking on his door and being like, don't help me.
A little bit Dark Knight, right? The hero we deserve, but not the one we need.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is there any Marvel hero in the old Avengers or the new upcomings that have a hidden identity?
So that's something that we were talking about. A lot of them have code names. Right, but
their faces are exposed.
But it's pretty well known who they are. But the classic superhero issue is the moment the people know who you are, the people you love are in danger.
Yeah.
Right, and they'll seek them out. So that is probably the biggest concern. It does make me think of I've two theories for how I think they could do it. One, I'll say real quickly. Yeah. Wait, no, it doesn't. No.
I'm listening.
Yeah. You should have been listening the whole time. One is a scroll. They'll use a scroll to be Peter,
right?
And then just be like, how is it that I'm
Yeah.
I'm Spider-Man? There's a guy right here that looks just like
taken
that.
care of. Done. Easy
And then
peasy.
that would be a little, but I think that'd be a little too easy.
It is.
So they could also instead do One More Day from the comics, which is when Spider-Man has revealed his identity. There's an assassin sent after him from Kingpin, and he gets Aunt May killed. And so he's just having like this terrible time. So I don't know how they'll do this part, but he makes a deal with essentially a demon to undo all of this and make it so that he can get his secret identity back, but it also undoes his marriage to Mary Jane, but it brings back Aunt May. So he could, right when he has everything he wants, he loses a child out of it,
Well, he could also let Doctor Strange have him go back in time before Jake Gyllenhaal revealed.
I guess the past
It's in
one
New
has it,
York
right?
somewhere with what's her name?
Tilda
This
Swinton.
time.
Yeah.
it's Tilda
Or he
Tilda
just
Swinton.
pops
Ancient
into a
one.
new universe and kills that version
Doppelganger.
of
The Rick and
himself.
Morty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So obviously we have a lot of theories about where this can go, and I am so excited to not know what the answer is for like years and years and years and years.
Definitely.
Man, they're really gonna slow down. That's it for like Marvel movies for a while now.
We have one.
Well, we have the shows on the Disney Plus thing, but we'll see.
WandaVision on your telly.
Ah.
Vision.
Speaking my language.
Yeah, exactly. She was very much trying to be like, you guys are TV people, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Stranger Things.
Cool.
All right, are you guys caught up? Have you been seeing these trailers
Yep.
that are coming out?
Yep.
And then also, so the season is about to drop. It's all of our favorite preteens again, fighting another monster.
Clouds. Lots of clouds.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Mysterio storm thing. So here's my thing about it. I feel like season 1 of Stranger Things was about
Dungeons and Dragons. Yes.
kinda, but in a way, that version of them, it's about embracing the stranger, right? Both literally being weird and being okay with being the outcast. Even Nancy goes with the weirder boyfriend than the cooler
Stupidest
one.
decision she ever made.
In
In real life as well.
But
Kidding. They're probably
also
really happy. They're probably
in
really
being
happy.
introduced to a strange stranger in 11 and accepting that people think a Winona
Bob.
Ryder
Oh.
character is crazy, right? But she's actually like telling the truth.
Yeah.
So it's just all about that. I feel like season 2 is a lot about embracing.
Welcome back, Will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He was
Poor
actually in
Will.
the
That
show.
first season,
He
I
has
just
no-
wanted
he
to
has nothing.
hold him.
Well, it is
Worse
and
than the blip.
appropriate that you're saying that you want to hold him like a baby, because I think season 2 is all about parenting and family and accepting. Everybody had a role of either being a parent or a child in that season. For Dustin and the little creature, 11 and Hopper, like they call Steve their mom.
yeah.
Steve with the hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve with the hair.
So season 3, I'm just gonna throw out there a pitch for what it might be about.
Okay.
Hormones.
Exactly. Puberty.
Yeah.
Puberty
Sure.
that's
hits
where they're
Hawkins.
at,
Yeah.
right?
So I want to know right before we watch it, because we haven't watched it yet, what you guys think
Forwards.
puberty in the world of Stranger Things is.
Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
Porno.
Yeah.
Well, you're already getting the lust build up with the lifeguard at the pool moment, which is very reminiscent of
Barf.
The Sandlot.
Yep.
Can we just get a Wendy Peppercorn right now? And then, they're growing older. They're, 13 years now? That's when I had... No, it wasn't. Never mind.
Gosh.
Never
That's when
mind.
you
Well,
went to the pool?
Yep.
That's when you went to the pool.
I
Not
feel like I
getting
should move
kissed.
it back to Stranger Things, but instead I want to know, Maude, what's the rest of that sentence?
I had my first kiss at 14.
Aww.
Yeah, not 13. So,
Wow.
I don't
First
know
kiss
what
at
it...
14? God, was I? I was 15.
Okay.
15.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Nate, any day now, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I believe in you.
Been practicing.
Yeah.
No, it was 5.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Some
so
stuff,
Stranger
yeah.
Things 3 is going to be sick.
Yeah.
But we know that...
So-
what is the older brother, the bully that no one really likes, but he's so
Oh,
sexy that you can't hate him? He's infected, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be infected and turn into some sort of like...
He is.
Well,
Sandman monster,
pitch
but with
me
shadow.
on how that applies to puberty. I want to know, what does puberty look like
you
on the show?
grow a lot of things in weird places that you
Awkwardly,
never
yeah.
thought it would be. I think
Yep.
he actually does turn into some sort of like shadow demon. The one that we saw,
Interesting.
the
Yeah.
sludge monster.
Yeah.
So he's like transforming.
Weird
He's like,
growths.
this is weird. I don't know. I feel funny. And then instead
Mm-hmm.
of it being puberty, he's really transforming into like a deadly creature.
Yeah, and I think
What
like
else?
to be not to put it too much on the nose, but he could represent like toxic masculinity if you don't keep
Interesting.
you have all these hormones.
He's a bit of a dick. That's
Well,
not.
yeah,
that's not in touch
totally.
with his emotions.
Oh, totally. Right.
Yeah.
And then so if you don't like constantly keep yourself connected and like, get your emotions out, then it can become
I like that.
problematic. And
Yeah,
he
that's-
could be the representation of that.
Does that start at puberty for us? Did we become toxic masculines? Which I've
say
never been
around
accused of
puberty,
being
yeah.
very masculine, but
Me neither.
Yeah.
But
Beard
You
says
guys become
otherwise.
toxic masculines, huh?
I'd say probably 13. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
'cause you
definitely
have
when you're at your
impulses.
worst.
You
Yeah,
have
exactly.
impulses and
Yeah.
you have to learn how to control them, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't, then it's bad.
You can turn into a monster.
Yeah, it is.
I'm being very profound, you guys.
And they've actually added another younger female into the mix, into the
Yeah.
group now as well. So they're going to be pairing off. This is like a school dance. All the boys on one side, all the girls on the other side, and they're going to start.
You know what's really funny
Dancing.
is if you watch, if you know what I mean, or just dancing.
No, just dancing.
Oh, okay,
Shoulders.
great.
No, 30
Yeah.
centimeter
Shoulder
ruler.
dancing, yeah.
So if you watched, was it Beyond Stranger Things, right?
Sure.
They
With the principal from Community?
exactly yeah. So they did an interview with the cast, and the moment that the kids were so clearly like giddy and freaking out about is when
The prom.
exactly and the big kiss,
Yeah.
right? And they talked about the various characters that were going to need to kiss, and like apparently on set it's like such a big deal to these kids because it's for some it is their
'Cause they're
first kiss,
kids.
and
Yeah.
they're actually having like their first kiss with probably, let's be honest, they probably have crushes on each other, right? They spend all this
Yeah.
time
What are they,
together.
12?
They were like 11 or 12 or something.
time,
yeah. Early, isn't it?
Or no, I think maybe a little older, actually. But now they're like a couple years past that. They're all literally going through puberty together.
Ugh.
I think they're actually probably having the
There's actual
freakouts.
chemistry?
It's the camp environment. You know, when you
Yeah.
are like kids put together in
You're all
this.
just like off doing something fun.
Yeah, they probably are just like having all sorts of fun drama.
Aw, you
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, that I miss. Yeah. So let's instead talk about the Game of Thrones spin-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what is dead may never die, and it's
Thank
appropriate
you.
here.
There
I'm
you
so
go.
sorry.
No. It's the. I mean, that joke is not dead. And will never die. So.
Yeah, because we killed it a
Do
while
it
ago.
3
though,
more
maybe.
times.
Yeah.
Before the end.
And then what? A zombie comes out.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
resurrect it
yeah.
successfully
Yeah.
by saying
Correct.
its
Did you
name
guys ever
3
say
times.
Candyman a bunch of times in the mirror or?
Oh,
or
Yeah,
Bloodberry?
bees
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out of like nowhere.
Oh, yeah,
Is
so
that
it worked.
supposed to
Yeah.
happen? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
well, it worked. Okay, never mind. So 2 leaks came out this week from the set of the Game of Thrones prequel series. It's shooting in Northern Ireland, and there's this leaked title logo for what they're calling right now, at least, Blood Moon.
Where is it?
Yeah.
First of all, there's another leak we'll talk about in a second, but I just wanted some guesses as to what you think Blood Moon would refer
When
to.
the blood moon rises. That's from Breath of the Wild. That's what Zelda says to Link. Do we know that?
Yeah, that's when all the bad guys
resurrect.
repopulate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think
It's
I mean,
the
there's
other
some
term for
similarities
blood
there?
moon, and I apologize profusely, but it's period.
Yeah, on that, then I think that maybe it has to do with how the White Walkers came to be and
Blood sacrifice.
blood sacrifice.
Oh, I
Okay, good. Podcast listeners could hear your gulps.
just say gulp, gulp. Yeah.
So no, go into this. Seriously, like, do you think it has to do with how the White Walkers
Yeah.
are going to come?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
the story I want to see.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that's the most mystery I feel like they left untouched. Like, we didn't get any
Right.
history of them.
Unsatisfactorily ended that one, where it was like there was the antagonist the entire series,
Right.
and then whoosh, over.
Yeah.
No blink, no nothing.
Gone,
Done.
So
let's find out the start of it, because that might be more
Right.
interesting.
The way you said unsatisfactorily was amazing. By the way, a second ago, like you should be.
I think it was actually
Actually.
channeled Alan Rickman Snape.
Oh, you know what's funny is I was like, you're like a likable
Obviously.
villain, is what I was
Yeah.
thinking in my head.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I didn't even realize I did that.
So
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I think it could
20
be.
points to Slytherin.
Are you keeping score still?
Yeah, yes.
But remember,
I am.
very bad with numbers.
I am.
Very bad with numbers. Uh,
7.6.
so I do think that it probably could be with that, because to me, Blood Moon is screaming maybe like a Lord of Light kind of thing, and where these religions all came from. It'd be very interesting. Yeah, the original Azor Ahai does have a prehistoric element, supposedly, this spin-off series. So one thing I'm also really excited about, it was the other leaked thing.
You didn't ask me what my theory was, which
Uh,
is that they're going to be in space.
That's why I didn't ask you. No, do you really mean that?
No. No,
Nothing's in space.
I had a joke and I want to just get it in. There we go.
I mean, it's going to be in a space.
It's going to be an A space.
You lost your spot
Sounds
to
nice.
reminding us that Nate is keeping score.
Oh, yeah.
And now we
You're
are
right.
going to hold you to that.
But
Yeah,
we're
I
about
got
to
it.
talk
I'll split the
about dinosaurs. Yeah.
Kinda. Okay, for listeners, Marina has an obsession with dinosaurs, and we've been told not to bring it up because she will go off on it. But
too late.
we got too close because there were mammoths, supposedly a scene on this set. I don't think actual mammoths, but it
do you
seems
mean?
like over the north. Yeah, they're not around.
Yeah, they are.
No.
They're in the history books when in the world of this thing, like when they read their own history books, right? There are mammoths in their own history
Well, there's supposed to be
books.
mammoths in the wildling army, and then also there's the elephant army, which we did not see.
Yeah,
the
and
Golden
everyone
Company.
was very disappointed.
I was very disappointed, and so was Cersei.
So was Cersei.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what other mythical animals do you think we're gonna see?
The spiders, please. My
Right.
gosh, they're in the
There'll be
lore. They
spiders,
spoke
yeah.
about them. Nan said it. She laid the foundation. Give us
Yeah.
some spiders.
Probably some Triceratops. Probably
No.
some T-Rex. Probably some Velociraptors.
Slugs.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah, that.
Podcast listeners, just to clarify,
Oh, no, they
Nate
know because
choked
that
on
was
his
a
water.
perfect.
That was a
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a pretty
Now,
good.
that was
Very
surprising.
good Heimlich maneuver is
Velociraptor,
what
yeah.
Velociraptor got it. What did you think? I'm also joking.
Oh wait. Oh boy, I also didn't hear you. Okay.
Nate, fix
Yeah.
it.
We're going to see Tutu.
I
What
think
are we gonna see?
After
Definitely
1-1?
gonna see like cats, dogs, for sure, like gerbils.
Sir Pounds.
Yeah.
Fair,
But you
fair.
know what we should jump right into? Just some quick rogue questions. So for those of you that don't know, which is all of us, these are questions that we don't know what they say, but we are going to just throw out our answers as they come to them. Okay, Melissa McCarthy has been rumored to be
Ursula.
cast
Oh my
for
God!
Ursula
Little
in the live
Mermaid.
action
Should be a
Little
drag queen,
Mermaid
though, but okay.
remake. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
All right.
It should be my mom.
Two parts. Self burn. What is let's see someone's best Ursula impression.
How about it?
got your looks and your pretty face. But don't underestimate the importance of
Body language. Yes. That's
So is anyone going to do an impression though, or just interrupt me very rudely?
devastating.
Those were all very good.
I think it was
I'll
a
give it to
three-part
Nate.
imita-
Yeah.
Great.
And then who should play Sebastian?
I wanted Awkwafina as Scuttle because she's
Oh,
in
that's
the
fun.
she's
Oh,
in
that'd
the
be
chats
great.
as well. Isn't
Yeah.
She's so good.
Yeah, isn't
all
she
right,
the
that
best?
counts. Yay.
Yay.
All right. Stuber is coming out next
Yeah.
weekend. So Dave Bautista is a cop, an undercover cop, right?
Yeah.
And he's takes an Uber with Kumail Nanjiani as the driver. Comes out next weekend. He commandeers an Uber. What fictional character would you least want to share an Uber with?
Least want to
The
share?
Hulk. He's a very big
Oh,
mess.
yeah.
You think
totally.
you make
Can
him
that car
mad?
won't drive?
Well, you know, he's
And
too
now-
wide.
well, now he
he's
is,
too
yeah.
wide. And then he would be like, I can't fit. And then he'd rip the top off and then he'd probably throw me out.
Least want to share a ride with Homer Simpson.
Really?
Yeah.
Least?
He's right there, right behind you.
I said what
He's
I said.
like,
Give me points.
Yeah. Nate, give her the points.
Okay. All right. I got him. All right.
If you had a scroll doppelganger, which we
cool.
learned is an option
Yep,
now,
yep.
what would you have them do for you? that
She's
you
already
don't have to
doing
do?
it. Vera Farmiga. She's crushing it as an actress, making
You
me
would
look bad.
rather have your
Oh,
scroll
she's
doppelganger
great.
crush as an actress, and you live.
I don't make the rules. That's what's happening.
You're on New Rockstars.
That's what's
instead.
happening.
They have to break up with everybody for me.
Are you dating a lot of people?
Yeah.
Break up
There's
with
a line.
everybody.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of
sequentially,
breakups.
you-
just
it's
tell
like you
these
tag
lines?
them in. Like when you have to break up, you tag them in.
All right, so you would trust them to take care of that for you?
Yeah.
Probably
It's like,
have
look,
them,
we're getting married instead. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, you had one job.
eat my meals.
Nate!
Probably. Yeah.
Nate,
like,
you're beautiful.
drive
You do
my
not need to
car.
lose weight.
Well, I know. I need to.
Ooh,
learn
driving
how-
your car is good. Then you could just text the whole time, and you don't have to. It's
Wait,
like a
so
short-
why do
short
they
car.
have to be you to do that?
Because people look in the window and be like, "What? There's two of them?"
There's
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
You
my
can
god.
carpooling,
Twins
carpooling,
mess with
carpooling.
me
Twins
all
is
the
a
I'm
time.
like, I'm not a twin. I'm not a twin.
Why does one twin have the other one in the back seat?
Exactly. See, it's already.
I'm
sparking
pulling this over. I
conversation.
think this is a scroll situation.
Yeah.
Your thing gets
That's
outed
how you
immediately.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Why is also one way heavier than the other one? It's like he's been eating all the meals and the other one has never eaten. These are weird.
You guys see Nate lately?
Guys.
Boy.
Peter gets to build his own custom Spidey suit with the Stark technology in Far From Home. How would you improve a Spidey suit for you specifically?
Eat my meals.
No, Nate. Nate.
Fly. I mean, that's a big one.
I'd
They
go
had the
invisible.
gliders.
Yeah,
Did you put
Invisibility is pretty good. They do have that tech.
haven't
I'm gonna call out because what Peter came up with was a spider-shaped parachute, which does not seem better than a normal parachute.
Right.
But yeah, Marina, what
Let
do
him
you
have it.
I
He's
was gonna
16.
say turn into a dinosaur, but
Oh, of course you would.
like claws and stuff.
Dinosaur claws?
Who doesn't want claws?
Come on.
You really do love dinosaurs.
Guys,
Dinosaurs.
Or like shoot tiny dinosaurs out of my hands, or
Like
Be
which
able to
dinosaur
talk to
specifically
dinosaurs?
are you shooting out of your hands?
Oh, which one am I shooting in my hands? The ones that have
The
this thing.
spit, the spitters,
Yes.
Yeah.
but tiny versions.
Yeah,
of them, so
teeny
you
tiny
barely
ones are
feel it.
drones.
So you
Instead.
can't get them. Yeah.
Better movie.
Drones. But
Yeah.
we fixed it,
Yeah.
guys. Speaking of still in Far From Home, everyone calls the spider sense the Peter Tingle.
Yeah.
That's a code name for masturbation.
Yeah.
You're Peter Tingle.
I actually spoke to Amy Pascal about that, and I'm not the
Oh,
first
really?
person that's associated it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's the
Amy
teen
Pascal
vulnerability.
I mean,
from-
if
She threw a banana at
Producer
him.
of this.
Everybody.
She
yeah.
threw a banana
Yes.
at
Right.
his face,
Yeah.
and it hit him in the face, and then made it immediately uncomfortable. Where every time she brings it up, he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, don't say that."
Correct.
That's
We
so it's Peter Tingle's
we
about that.
all were
Yeah.
on the same. Yeah.
yeah.
I
yeah.
did not pick up on that.
yeah. So the kid is older
Incidentally
than
enough,
his
Nate
brother
has
now.
never
I
masturbated.
don't, yeah. Not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet. Looking forward to
well,
it.
Sorry.
Excited.
we know what it was supposed to be, right? It's his Spidey sense. What would you name your super intuition? And the
boy.
card writer wrote, like, I've got Filup feelers.
Oh, okay.
Maud motion.
The mod motion.
Yes.
Marina mindset.
Oh,
That
great.
sounds like a series of self-help CDs.
And I'd buy them all.
yeah. Well, it's
Volume
literally
2
named
of
after
the
you.
Molina Mindset.
Yeah.
You too can free yourself from your love of dinosaurs.
That's a good American accent. That's what I sound like.
Satisfying.
Nate Napkins.
Okay, so it was the alliteration that you really latched onto.
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are
Nate's-
napkins?
That's his
Neurons.
barometer for if something is good. Is it
Nate's
alliterative?
neurons.
All right, well,
Nate's-
Nate
that's
Napkin
better.
is the last answer of the Rogue Theory section. Guys, that's it for this episode of Rogue Theory.
we did it.
Thank you so much. You guys went rogue with us. We went to really weird places. We found out how many times we've each been shot, which is a non-zero number. Thanks to our guest, Maude Garrett. Where can we find you?
I'm Maude Garrett on all social medias, and I've got a YouTube channel called Geek Bomb.
And it's very good, and I like it.
I hit
and it has
100,000
a lot
for the
of-
third time.
Oh, there you
For
go.
the
Congratulations. Third time hitting
time.
100,000.
Third time.
She also has a lot of interviews with Keanu. That are
Keanu
doing
Reeves.
really
yeah,
great on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did Far From Home junket interviews with the cast on Nerdist too, so you can
Yeah,
check that
there
out.
you go. Nate, where you at?
At Thread Corner Podcast. It's a podcast I produce.
About knitting?
About TV making.
Oh, damn it.
TV building? TV fixing.
Fixing.
TV fixing.
He forgot his
There it
own
is, there it
joke.
And about knitting. But it's there's some comedy in it, and I don't know.
What is it really about?
It's I can get into it. It's gonna be
Do
long.
it.
Um,
No,
What's
make
your
it short,
slogan?
Nate.
Yeah,
What's your
just
tagline?
no, just tell us it in 1 second.
It's
Sick.
a podcast. Twins, brother dies, so the other brother decides to recreate the podcast because that first podcast never got released. So now he's recreating each episode. As
Your
Oh my
brother
god, that's
died?
very
Guys,
funny.
do check
I
this
mean,
out. Say it
yeah.
again.
Yes, you just brought up. I'm Thread Weathers. No, it's worth checking out. You might want to start from the beginning, but
Clearly it's
but you won't
complicated.
want
No,
to.
I think this sounds like you can just jump in anywhere
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this
Good
yeah.
luck.
one.
Good luck. But you'll still find some value somewhere.
Where can we see you perform?
Second City every other Saturday-ish, and
Second City Hollywood.
Second City Hollywood, and then Thursday nights at the Moving Arts Theater on Hyperion. That's more of a rock and roll
Nude
indie
comedy,
show. That's-
yeah.
yeah.
Punk rock.
Punk rock. You got to be over 21. You got to be able to not wear clothes. So
Yeah. Hey, we were all able to do that second
Neither
one.
of those are true, Nate. Neither.
Yeah. Marina, where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter at Marina Mastros, and I have a podcast called Camp Out Creeps, which is about demons and scary stuff, but it's a comedy podcast, so it's just us freaking out about all things scary. And I'm on a team at UCB, which is called Sassy Bluff, and we're every last Wednesday at 7 at UCB Sunset.
Great. Like the last Wednesday?
The fourth, I guess.
like every
the
previous
final.
Wednesday?
Yeah. Go in a time
miss us
machine.
every week.
Yeah.
Go to a week ago, Wednesday, get out, go to the UCB Sunset,
You'll
watch
be
it in
there.
the past.
Yeah.
I'll be
Sweet.
there.
Guys, I will be there because you guys are very funny and I really enjoy supporting you guys and I want you guys back here again. You guys, thank you so much for supporting us by watching this and enjoying it and subscribing to the podcast feed and subscribing to the channel. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel, by the way, for way more Spider-Man Far From Home stuff. We're also obviously going to cover Stranger Things, and coming up this week, Erik will be on vacation for a little bit, but then he comes right back and it's all going to be fine, I promise.
You let him out of his room?
Yeah, it's his
The
vacation.
cave?
He gets to go into the living room.
Yeah.
All right. Follow us at New Rockstars, me at Filup Molina. Have a good night. Now you get to sleep.
Oh, thank